Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for a back and bicep day. I started the workout with my garage door closed, so just a disclaimer, the lighting is going to be a little different. It's going to make me look leaner. You guys will notice it on the first couple sets of curls. In fact, I've put up some pictures on all my social media just kind of pointing that out. That's kind of how gym lighting and other stuff works. That's how fake natty lighting works, right? That down lighting makes all the difference. Makes all the difference. And this is going to be a super long vlog, by the way, guys, because I'm doing tons of bicep work. I told you guys I'm going to just pump the heck out of my biceps. I'm going to train arms like a bro at this point, get them caught up. Because of years of powerlifting, you know, my arms didn't get what they needed. And one of the things that I have to admit for someone like me, that really heavy work and big compounds don't do anything for my arms. So they've come up quite a bit. They've improved, and we need to continue that trend because that's what we know works for me, right? We realize that. I realize that. Higher rep pump work is about the only thing that really grows my arms. We know super heavy weighted chins doesn't, right? We know that for a fact. Doing chin ups with 100 pounds doesn't do it. So we're going to still train back. So what I want to be clear, my overall volumes are going up. We are essentially doing bodybuilding other than a little bit of really heavy work with my big three. I'm going to call it powerbuilding because it is. But really at this point, it's a 5-day bodybuilding split. I mean, I'm coming in and doing tons of bicep and delt and tricep isolation, quad isolation, all that stuff, right? And those volumes are going to be very high on all the isolation stuff. It's going to be a lot of pump work. As far as the back goes, you know, everyone's always like, well, your back is your best body part. But realistically, I don't know that my back is that imbalanced anymore. I just have a good back. Okay? It doesn't mean that it's freakishly disproportionate at this point. Not from a bodybuilding perspective, right? The general pop, sure, because they don't train their back. Keep that in mind. The average gym bro skips their lats, right? They skip their lats completely most of the time. If you really watch, they don't really take them seriously because they can't see them in the mirror. So of course they don't have a back, right? So I'm going to go ahead and train it. I don't want to do the really minimalist stuff I was doing. I do need to come in and take my back seriously. So we're going to do 9 sets on back day. Now keeping in mind, there's a lat and back training in my other days because of the movements that I pick. So it is going to get some work. It's probably going to still get the lowest volume of just about anything I do, at least on its individual day at 9 sets. But it's going to be very hard direct work, okay? At 9 sets, yeah, that's going to be my lowest volume. But do those pullovers. How many of the experts out there think pullovers are a great lat exercise? A lot do. I do those on the chest day, chest and tricep. Then we have deadlifts. So even if we don't count the deadlifts, that's going to give me 12 sets. We're still above 10. That's still in that area. So what did we do here? We did weighted pull-ups, nice wide grip, focusing on getting the stretch at the bottom. Did a lot of them from the hang. Then I did seal rows for sets of 12. Then I did one of dumbbell rows. I just marked them as 12s with the heavier weight because I got 15 and realized this weight's a little too light, so went up and managed to get sets of 12. But look at my legs in this lighting. Okay. Again, lighting is ridiculous. Like it's fake lighting matters. And it's not really fake because I mean that really is me. I've not photoshopped anything. There's no editing. It's just that I just have the overhead light on in my garage. And the garage door is closed. There's no sunlight coming through. So no light from the sides. It's all down lighting. But look at what that does. It really shows. It shows all your cuts is what it does. It shows what is actually there, right? Just like when people put on the tons of fake tan and everything. I mean, same effect. I obviously do need to get leaner. I'm still carrying more body fat than I want. We're going to continue to focus on leanness. I feel that I need to lose still, but I'm going to recomp a bit on the way down. I still think I've got about 8 to 10 pounds of body fat I could still stand to lose, okay? To be kind of where I want to be and to get that waistline tighter, the loose skin fully tightened up, though it's improved. I mean, people have commented on that on all my stuff, Facebook and YouTube. of how much it seems to be tightening, and it is, but it needs more. And I feel like the leanness is going to be the key. But again, let's talk about this lighting for a bit. And then, of course, dumbbell rows. I'll do shorts and reels on those. Again, people always ask me on my back development, how do I get that back? And it's all basic exercises, guys. But look at the way that I perform them. The pull-ups, I really do focus on the stretch. But these other exercises that work other parts of the back, okay, I do focus on that shortened position. I don't row to my stomach or my hip. I always row to my chest, because I've always felt more back activation. Let's set aside anything we know about range of motion or science. I personally just feel a better pump and a better connection in my back when I do a full range of motion that I don't feel when trying to do certain pull down type movements, because those just hurt, right? So for me, because of, again, my scapula, my shoulders, so trying to get certain ranges of motion on those things are just painful. And it doesn't seem to activate anything in my lats. So I don't care. I don't even try. I just focus on the stretch. These other movements, though, getting that top range of motion, I really feel it more. So we stretch at the bottom of all rowing, and then I row up to my chest or my armpit. All right, but here's the example of what we mean with the lighting. Look at these curls, guys. It's funny because I look nothing like this in the mirror. But, I mean, it's just the lighting. But it shows the cuts, and we can still see, obviously, the waistline is fluffier this week. I've lost fat. It's just that there's a little bit of boof there. And when that boof goes down, it all tightens up a lot more. So I'm going to work on that with what I'm doing with it, what I'm eating, a little bit different. And it's a little nuance to go into. I need to, again, take out stuff like the dark chocolate, which I took out. I probably need just more protein and a little less fat overall as I continue to do all this fasted training and cardio, get a higher thermic effect, and I think it'll all kind of squish in. Maybe if I wasn't drinking the 2 gallons of water a day, that would help too. But I feel like that's good for my recovery. It's good for flushing stuff. So I kind of want to continue to do that, right? I want to actually continue that if possible. So then I open the door. These are just a couple minutes apart. I want to be clear. This isn't like a huge amount of time difference. Like that last set to the next one was like 90 seconds. The door came up and came over to the set. But it's all the difference, isn't it? Look how much difference lighting makes. Now, I look nice and thick though. That's the thing I've noticed when I'm coming towards the camera. With the down lighting, I look a lot leaner. When I have the sunlight hitting, I feel like I look a little bigger and thicker in certain ways. So it's just interesting how that works. All right, curls. We did tons of curls. So what I did, I wanted to go anywhere. I wasn't sure. I wanted at least 6 sets of barbell curls. I picked a weight I could get 13 reps with, and I managed to get that all the way through. All right, just trying to chase that pump, chase that pump, chase that pump. I think the last set I only got like 11 and failed. So I'm like, okay, we're now losing reps. We're done. We've gotten all we're going to get out of this exercise. Took me about 7 sets. Okay, 7 sets. I'm trying to do them close to failure. So sometimes you see me grinding, and then I get one more, and then it just sticks. Right, I just can't move it out of the bottom. So we're reaching failure. So I got 7 sets this way, right? And I'm just doing a nice shoulder width grip, just trying to do a pretty strict curl. The bicep pump was really intense. By say set 6, by set 5 actually, my biceps were hurting. Like I almost felt like I couldn't keep going, but I did. That was the interesting thing. I just kept pushing through. Because again, I'm still getting used to these really high bicep volumes. Again, it was just burning. The pump was intense. But here was the strategy that I went with. And I think because I do like the preacher curls a lot. I like incline, but when I look at what's happening mechanically and for me, I just feel certain things on certain movements. So trying to stick with things I've done with my back. Look how I grew my back with this same logic. Knowing when to do different movements in my thing, knowing how to feel them, built me a tremendous back. I'm going to apply that same thing to my arms full time now. All right, we're just going to do the exact same thing. So what does that mean? Well, it means like here, I know that I get a really serious pump and a good shortened position and all that stuff, and a good full range of motion on those barbell curls, right? Now that the biceps were extremely pumped, then we go into that lengthened position, that deep stretch exercise, the preacher curl. Now the first few sets I just did them touch and go at the bottom, try to get just a reflex. And I realized as I went, like, let me start just pausing them at the bottom. Let's make it even harder. Because I wanted to really, so on the last reps I would do that. But then on the last 4 or 5 sets or so, I just did them all paused at the bottom. And it forced me to even reduce the weight because it started getting hard. I got like 15 reps and it dropped to like 13, 12, or like 15, 14, 13. And that's all I could do. But then, at a certain point, I paused it and realized I only got like 11 or 12. So I had to drop the weight now because my arms were getting fatigued. And I'm like, I'm just going to keep pumping, keep getting this stretched position. So because my arms were absurdly pumped from the other and were pumped, that means we're going to get a different type of stretch. When it stretches and hurts more once you're really pumped. So that I'm like, this is when I need to do the lengthened position movement. Right, because with that barbell curl, yes, it's full range of motion, but there's a little more tension at the contracted part at the top. The preacher curl, that tension's at the bottom. And we put that stretch. So then once I had the really serious pump and all that blood and all that glucose and everything in the muscles, everything was pumped up. I'm like, now we'll hit the stretch position movement. Okay. Because they were burning and pumped. This hurt. Like once we got there, it's like, man, going into those stretch, those lockouts, those pauses after the biceps were really pumped like that. It actually hurt. But we're forced to use a lighter weight with it. Again, preacher curls can be potentially dangerous. It forced me to use a nice lightweight. I started with 50 pounds and then went down to 40 here and did like sets of 12 all the way through. And a lot of these, like I said, we got there, we started really focusing on the stretch at the bottom. A lot of it's some paused reps, trying to accentuate the lengthened position and really stretch that muscle because we got a really serious contraction on the big movement, right? We moved more weight on the standing movement, got a really good pump. Now I'm wanting to just stretch the hell out of the muscle, lengthened position. So now we're combining the two together, all right? Combining the two together. Did 7 sets of these. So when we're looking at just the free weights, where does this put us? 14 total sets. And this is, I am not counting my lat work. So people are like, do we count lat? Do we want to count pull-ups? Do we count rows? For me at this point, I'm not even going to bother. Yes, they do work the biceps. Yes, they grow the biceps in the lab. We know this. This is an objective fact. Not as much as curls. So I'm not even counting them. So I'm like, now I'm going to come in and hammer this. And yes, I'm going to do all this once a week because then I can recover. Okay? Then the muscles have time to recover. Just come in and take them with literally as much volume as I can possibly do. We start with good mechanical tension, right? So that's kind of the idea with this training. We chase progressive overload. We chase big movements early in the workouts. We get that mechanical tension. Then we come in and we take the muscles, especially the ones that we need to grow the muscle. We pump everything, right? Everything's getting a pump. I'm pumping my hamstrings. I'm pumping my quads. We're pumping pecs. Okay? Then we come in and we do a ton of pump work. And the muscles that need the most work get more. So what? Arms, biceps and triceps. My arms need the most work. So then we're coming in and hitting several angles. And I really like that. So I think 4 muscles like this, 3 different angles. And so we can do a couple of them with weights. And then obviously I band everything up for the end. And I did the same thing with triceps. Then we just do band work to failure and just pump the crap out of the muscle. Volume, 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 fatigue, fatigue, fatigue. After we've done all this other stuff, all these 10 to 12, 10 to 15 rep range free weight exercises, all this isolation work. Okay. Then at this point, I'm just purely chasing metabolic fatigue. We're chasing blood flow, getting any other fibers, pumping as much blood as I can into the muscle, working the tendons, and that's going to be a big deal. Okay, because if I'm going to do all these volumes, what's always our concern? It's going to be tendon health. It's going to be tendon hypertrophy, tendon recovery. So if I can keep the tendons healthy, I can get away with it. Because again, preacher curls, and that's hard on tendons. Some of the skull crusher type stuff can be hard on tendons Because part of me wants to work in a normal skull crusher again with all the other extensions. It might do really, really well. Might do really well. Something to consider, you know. But then we see here, all right, look at this lighting coming back towards the camera. Now I look thick. Now those lats are popping out. Belts are popping out. I look big coming towards the camera in the sunlight, because now I'm in the sunlight at this point. Door is wide open. The sun is coming up. I could see the sun over in the distance, right? So it's facing coming through the door. Now we lose most of the cuts, but I look big, right? Now then the side. So it's just the difference of lighting, right? The difference of lighting. But I'll take it. I mean, if I look like this in the worst lighting possible for definition and I just look stacked, I'll take it. But the band work, this was easier than the other. Honestly, I did super short breaks. A lot of these, I felt like I was still getting really close to the same reps to failure with 30 seconds. And I'm taking them there to where it hurts, and then I go to do one more and it jerks down and I feel like I can't even move the arm again. The weight just stops. So that's the thing with that continual pump. When it just stops moving, it just stops moving. Like I've reached failure. And the way it jerks down at the top, you know, that overspeed eccentric. So this is a totally different type of training response. So we've really hit like a full range of motion with a good shortened position contraction. Once we had that really good pump, then we do use the stretch to our advantage. Again, pull those muscle fibers, pull everything harder, because then we go into the stretch with the pump. So we did all that into a stretch position, strict preacher curl with no cheating, right? No way to cheat it all the way I'm doing it, okay? So now we've done a big compound that gets us into a short position, and we did a truly strict isolation that goes into a stretch position, 7 sets of each. That's a lot. Then I just come in and just pump the muscle into exhaustion with bands. Pump, pump, pump. Create as much fatigue as possible, and then leave it alone for a week, and it will work. All the data is now showing, look, a week is fine. In fact, I probably need a week for it to recover. My biceps are probably going to hurt tomorrow. I've never done this much. I did a lot of volume last time, and I got DOMS. I've never done this much bicep volume in a day, just in general. Okay, but we also picked up a little bit of strength on those lifts. I was a hair stronger than last week on those same curls. So did we get something out of it? It looks like we probably did. But then all this pump work. Biceps were just torched, right? They were torched. And then we protein load like crazy. I've already had, by the time I'm recording this now, I've already had a meal and I've had 4 scoops of whey. So I've had 100 grams of protein from whey. Now we're going to ramp up the protein synthesis, all the thermic effect and everything during my fed window, and hopefully continue to get leaner and build a little bit of muscle off all this training. But yeah, 10 sets of bands to failure. 10 sets of bands. So 24 total sets if we count the band work. And we don't count the pull-ups or the rows for my biceps. All right, guys, overall really happy with this workout, so I hope it's been informative. And I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.